So a team that'll be giving some sort of mixed feelings at this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations is DR Congo. They are stuck with a lot of quality players, but the team is ranked 109 in the world and have struggled to win most of their previous games they've played. But let me give you a full preview of Team Congo going into this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So Congo actually made their first appearance at the Women's AFCON in 1998, so a very long time ago, and they won the bronze medal in their very first appearance, but that was the first and only time they made it beyond the group stage of the Women's AFCON. They have made 2 appearances since then, but all has been group stage exits. They come and then get out in the group stage. So for 2024, they'll be looking to do something different because they have a quality and good team, as I mentioned earlier on. But they qualified to this year's edition through quite a complicated route. So Congo first played against Benin in the first round of qualifiers, where they won by 4-2 after 2 games, after 2 legs, 2-1 in both games. Then they played the second round of qualifiers against Equatorial Guinea, where they won by 3-2. So it was quite a difficult and a narrow road to qualify, but eventually they made it and qualified to the Women's AFCON, which was the first time they were making it in about 10 years. The last time they made it was 2014, so it was 11 years. But then technically it's 10 years because this year's edition was supposed to be held last year. So it's called the WAFCON 2024. So technically it's 10 years, but even though realistically it's 11 years. So 11 years they haven't played at this tournament. So as I said earlier on, it's a mixed feeling for Congo going into this year's WAFCON. But let's delve into the team they presented for the competition, and there's a lot to discuss about the Congo team. So here is it, their full squad for the Women's AFCON. And the first interesting bit is that TP Mazembe Ladies, which is a club from Congo, are the current winners of the CAF Women's Champions League in Africa. So that makes them the best team on the continent. And they have quite a number of players in this team, about 6 players from TP Mazembe going into this team for Congo for the WAFCON. But also an interesting thing is, for this year's edition, well, Congo has gone all full out to convert quite a number of players who were playing dual nationals, to convert them to play for Congo for this year's edition of the WAFCON. So let's look at a few of those players. So there's Esther Boabadi, who plays for Feyenoord in Netherlands and recently played for Belgium under 23 team. So they've been able to convince her to switch and play for Congo at the WAFCON. There's also Eva Somo, who plays for Nantes in the French league. I think it's in the French league, feminine league, and they've also been able to convince her, even though she's 31 years, they've been able to convince her to also switch and play for Congo starting from this WAFCON. But Congo has been able to convince some young players too. So there is Naomi Kabala, who plays for AS Cannes in the lower division of France football. They convinced her, even though she's still young, convinced her to play for them. They also convinced Crystal Iyombe, who also plays for AS Monaco, also in the lower division of France football, female football in France. They convinced that she's only 19 years, convinced her to play for them. Then also convinced Joy Kimwemwe, who is also another 19-year-old, plays for University of Cincinnati in the USA. So they also convinced her to play for them. So a few dual nationals have been convinced to switch and play, and will be making their debut in women's football in Africa at the WAFCON for Team Congo. But the real area to concentrate on is the quality stacked in this Congolese team. So first, there is Marvel Kanjinga, who plays for PSG in the French league in France. She's been one of the top players there since history. But Marvel Kanjinga was part of the TP Mazembe team who played at the Women's CAF Champions League, the CAF Women's Champions League, and they won it. She was actually the second top scorer of the competition and also in the team of the tournament. And then she's transitioned to PSG, where she settled nicely over there, plays regularly for PSG, and has been called up for this year's Women's AFCON. And to be her first ever edition. And she's maybe one of the players Congo will really be looking up to shine at this year's edition. Then when you go to the Saudi Pro League too, there is Naomi Kabakaba, who plays in the Saudi Pro League. She was the 3rd top scorer in the Saudi Arabia, and then she's fully represented for, that is, Congo in this team. Also, there is Ruth Kipuyi, who won the Saudi League with Al Nasser. She won it this season, so another champion coming to play for Congo in the WAFCON. If you go to the Congolese midfield, there is Benye Kubiena, who was also part of the TP Mazembe team at the CAF Women's Champions League. After winning it, she got a move to China, where she settled there, plays regularly, has been a key part of her team in China, and so will be adding a lot to the midfield of Congo at this year's WAFCON. Then in defense, there is Belange Nzumba, the captain. She was actually the captain of TP Mazembe when they won the CAF Women's Champions League. She's also part of the Congo national team and is expected to lead them at the back at this year's edition. So despite the talents, the huge talents available for Congo going into the WAFCON, they've struggled for results in the past years. So since 2024, and listen to this, since 2024, they have lost all the friendly matches they've played. Lost all of them. They lost to Uganda, they lost to Morocco, they lost to Senegal, they lost to South Africa, they lost to Tanzania. So lost all the friendly games they've played since 2024. And some do attribute it to the fact that the ladies are not giving the best sort of service of treatments. They're not giving the best of treatment. They are being owed monies. They are not giving the best of service to play, the best of things to play with. So that probably contributes to the fact that they've lost all of their friendly games in the last 1 year, despite the huge talents they have in their team. But maybe one thing Congo will be sort of happy about is that for competitive games, in competitive games, they have not lost. So the last competitive games they played, which was against Botswana, in the women's AFCON qualifiers for 2026, they won the first leg and then played a draw in the second leg. So they haven't lost in competitive games. And with the WAFCON being competitive, that is maybe something for them to be excited about. Maybe, who knows? So the team has gone into preparation mode for the women's AFCON, fully out to prepare for the tournament. And they've been camping and preparing. And given that this is the penultimate sort of biggest level in Africa women's football, I'm really expecting the players to give their all and give their everything, especially in the Group of Death, which is alongside Morocco, the last year's finalists and the host nation, then Zambia, who were third place in the last edition, then also Senegal, who were sort of quarter-finalists in the last edition. So this is a very tough group Congo are in, and then they'll have to sort of really find ways and means to navigate themselves through this group. But for my prediction, well, I think Congo have the quality. They do have the quality to make it out of this group. And if maybe there are not any more protests, any more fair treatment to the ladies, and then they all come together, I think Congo has the quality to make it out of this group. And I'm predicting Congo to qualify from this group, maybe as one of the best third place teams from this group. But you can also let me know in the comments your thoughts about Team Congo for the women's AFCON. Do you think they make it out of this group, or they'll be eliminated at the group stages? Let me know in the comments.